Well, hello again, everyone. I hope you're all doing fairly well out there. Hopefully it's a happy new year for some people out there, but I know things are trying and difficult in the various other things. And there's been a lot of difficult stuff because it's been about 2 months since I did the last channel update because I've just been stupid busy with a lot of stuff on the channel and then some, which we'll get into. But like I said, there's a lot of stuff that's going down since I put out the last update here. So we put out commentaries for GoldenEye, Rocky 3, the Dennis Leary film, the Ref, and Rocky for the theatrical cut. Now, we have plans. I'll talk a little bit later on in the video about what we have planned coming up, but I thought the GoldenEye one did very, very well. Very, very well. So, definitely James Bond will return on the channel in 2026. We're going to have a plan to do one every couple of months. We're not going to cluster them together, so I feel like every couple of months we'll do another one. Jump on there. So right now we're kind of focusing on maybe doing one era of an actor at a time. So we'll go through the Brosnan era and then figure out where we're going to go after that. But it feels like a good idea to go forward on that regard. But that one did very well. The Rocky 3 one did okay. Didn't do it. Usually the Stallone ones really do a lot of numbers for us. And the Rocky ones didn't quite break through as well as the cliffhangers and the Rambos and so on and so forth we have done before. So bit of an anomaly, but they still did decently enough. So we definitely have the director's cut of Rocky versus Drago, the Rocky IV director's cut coming up in February. And of course we did the Ref with Dennis Leary, which I'll talk about a little bit in the media pickups here, but that went off decently well. I didn't know if it was really going to go anywhere because it's not like that well known of a film in that regard, but seemed to do okay numbers. But all that type of stuff, but the stuff that really just, oh my God, so much stress, so much just sitting here at the computer for ages, like fucking weeks, dealing with stuff. I mean, the big success as of late was the Retro Video Series episode on the Star Wars Trilogy DVD set. And that's gotten over 5,500 views, which is just like crazy numbers for the channel. No, that's weird because we're almost at 15,000 subscribers, but it's saying like, oh, it blows up that much. It's crazy for the channel because things struggle to get a couple hundred views sometimes. So weird, but that thing just, I put in so much fucking work on that video. I worked on that thing for 3 weeks straight. I shot it over 2 days, went through editing, re-recording some bits here and there. For 3 weeks straight, I worked on Thanksgiving, the holiday, to get it edited. And that was still like another week or so after Thanksgiving before it actually got finished. So, really heavy stuff. And I'm kind of, because did a similar thing the year before with the numerous versions of Star Trek The Motion Picture, where I just worked through the whole week of Thanksgiving on editing as much as I could. I worked on the holiday and stuff like that to edit the whole thing together. I feel like this year I'm going to want to rejigger things to make sure I'm not doing those super heavy videos right at the end of the year that just stress me the fuck out and just like suck up all my time. Because after I got that done, it went over pretty goddamn well, exploded and everything like that. I just finished because I've been talking about since August. I've been doing the TV series retrospective on the series Human Target from 2010 to 2011. It was based on the DC Comics property, and I've been working on it since August. I watched all the episodes. I wrote up my entire script, and I edited things down, reaching everything, just finished up the entire script, and I recorded everything, and I just like it was just such a long, arduous process to edit everything. I just didn't feel like I could just make this the one priority and blow everything off on the channel because I was getting up to Forever Horror Month, so I had to pause to do that. Then I got off of that. Then I had itches to do other things with the Star Wars video and everything like that, so I kind of like put that on pause again. So I kept putting on pause here, there, and everywhere. And then so after the Star Wars video got finished, I took a little breather for myself, then kind of delved into getting that finished, and that just got finished a couple days ago. So it's been like another couple of weeks working on it very rigorously. I had the microphone set up on my boom pole here right next to the desk, so I could constantly, whenever I came across a piece of audio recorded that didn't sound quite right, I would just swing the thing over and re-record the whole thing and slap it into the timeline just over and over and over again. I just constantly do it because scripted voiceovers I'm not as well versed in that type of thing to really have a great handle on how to do it overall. So it was a bit of a process to kind of slow my voice down, get my rhythms and all that type of stuff, and enunciate things as quick, as nicely as possible, because it comes off a little bit differently when I'm back like this close to the microphone instead of a little bit of a distance away. So all that type of stuff. It just, the old audio quality and stuff like that, and pacing it out and being able to edit it and stuff like that. So it was just a very long texting process, and I decided, well, for this one, I am not working on Christmas. I'm going to take Christmas off and just do fuck all of nothing. Night before Christmas Eve, I watched Die Hard and Die Hard 2. Nothing fancy or whatnot, just like the regular old stuff. And Christmas, I didn't do a whole lot of anything. It was kind of whatever. I didn't have any plans to watch anything or do anything. I just did basically nothing all day. And so I got back into video and stuff like that. So it finally obviously got finished. But as I was kind of realizing through the process of doing this thing, like, one, it's not a terribly well-known property. Two, I don't know. I mean, I've seen like articles, a Reddit thread or what, subreddit thread or something like that here and there. I just don't know how much of a popularity there is, like a cult fan base for the show or whatnot. It feels like people remember it when people watch it back, and they remember it, and they thought that was a very good thing, and some discussion here or there, but it's not like a sustained type of thing overall. So it's not doing very well in views, whatnot. It's been puttering along, and I'm just going to make peace with it. It's like at a point, it's like, well, I've put in way too much work into this thing and way too much time into this thing. Just say, oh, it's not going to do anything, just scrap it and throw it out. What? I couldn't do that. Not a chance in hell. After all the work I put into it, I had to get it done. I had to get it done, get it released, all that type of stuff. And I put a lot of, just tons of hard work to perfect it as best I could and stuff like that. So it was just a long process that going to probably be a loss for the channel, whatnot, not getting the views and channel traction, stuff like that. So maybe over time I'll grab some things here and there, but just right now it's just like not going anywhere. So that's unfortunate in that regard. But all the stuff we have coming up on the channel is in the media pickups here. But decompress for a moment before we get into that. All the other stuff that happened in the intervening time here. Not only working so rigorously and just exhaustively on these videos, in the middle of all this type of stuff, I eventually had a problem with my car, because it was on just over a month ago, December 1st. I was coming home from work, and it was snowing that night, and very heavy coverage on the roads and everything like that, and I ended up turning down a residential road that I've gone down tons and tons of times, but it was not plowed, and when I was going up to a stop sign, I couldn't get the car to stop. It just kind of slip sliding and everything like that, so I ended up having a problem with the emergency brake where I couldn't disengage it, and there's all the different things where I got kind of half stranded on this residential road for a good number of hours, and so it got into a whole situation. It's like, oh, it was a terrible night. It was a real terrible night. So on top of the stress of actually trying to get that Star Wars video done, this happens where I end up on the residential street, and I get some help from a guy nearby, lived nearby, and some of the guys who stopped by to kind of help it out because they had the flashers on, and find out, well, the back wheels weren't turning because the emergency brake would not disengage. And the thing is, if I sat there waiting for the tow truck, I would have been there until like 1 o'clock in the morning, and that just wasn't going to do it. So I ended up having to arrange with AAA to pick up the next morning, and then I got like 3 hours of sleep. I just zonked. I just could not get back to sleep after like 4 o'clock in the morning and stuff like that, and just like, then I had to race out there and meet the guy for the tow truck and bring it over to the place, and I eventually had to go to work that day, so it was a very long thing, a lot of stress, a lot of things to deal with. Car's back on its feet for the most part in that regard. All those problems are fixed. Surely there's other problems that are probably going to happen sooner or later. And so there's a lot of costs involved with all these repairs and everything like that. So there's another level of stress on top of everything else while I'm trying to get that video done. And then I gotta take some break after this was done and move into the other thing. And that was just, again, like I said, a very arduous story in that regard. So just a lot of stuff. Way too much to be doing over the holiday stuff and all other things going on. So I'm just trying to slow it down now. Slow it down. I've had a 3-day weekend, three-day weekend from Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Recording this on Monday, and so Saturday I didn't really do anything. It's a little kind of like, yesterday I eventually picked myself up halfway through the day and realized, well, I have to motivate myself. I gotta get past all the other crap around me and just kind of motivate myself into doing things. So I did some cleaning up and some moving some stuff around here. Then I eventually got into watching some stuff, a couple things on the media stacks here, whatnot. So I kind of got myself into a productive, motivated mindset to get things forward and everything like that. And I also finished a Star Wars audiobook that I kind of mentioned before. It was the book 2 of Empire Rebellion called Honor Among Thieves, which you don't have to go through the first book to have any kind of context for this one. Went through just fine. And I thought it was not a full, 5-star type of thing, but one, it's done by Mark Thompson, who's the absolute best overall this whole thing. He does fantastic reproductions of the voices of all these characters, because it's mainly a Han Solo story, and his Han Solo is so goddamn good. He gets that right kind of crusty quality about the character, but also a little bit of the heart underneath it overall. So a little bit of that kind of stubborn cynicism and whatnot, what have you, but still brings up a lot of that other depth and quality of Han in the whole thing. And just all the other characters, Chewie's there, you got Leia and Luke and stuff like that, but some other new characters come in the whole thing. They're very well written, well portrayed by him, and the whole production overall was very, very excellent all the time. So the production on these Star Wars audiobooks, the unabridged ones they're putting out the last several years, are just spectacular work. So anything like that. And I do have the Shadows of the Empire one to get to after, something I'm going to delve into here shortly, but I'm going to get into that one because they put out the brand new unabridged version last year, so I had to grab that one too. And so I'll eventually get into that as well. But I had to take a little bit of I took a long break, because once I got really deep in the weeds on the Star Wars videos, I can't be editing the Star Wars video and then listening to the audiobook when I'm not editing the video. I got to take a little separation and whatnot. So I took a couple weeks off, and I came back to it in the last week or two and whatnot. And it was easy to pick up. It's very easy, simple to follow story in that regard. So I think it's worthwhile if you're interested in something that's set between A New Hope and Empire with those characterizations. It's a nice type of story with a lot of action, adventure, stuff like that, and good character interactions. Very nice type of work in that regard. But anything like that. So we'll get into the media pickups here, because I know that's a lot of things people want to get to, and there's a lot, because again, it's been 2 months. So, what we're doing this month for Commentaries, some brand new horror sequels, and I grabbed up the 4Ks of both of them. First one up is Final Destination Bloodlines, which is, I just watched last night. I threw it in and watched it last night and whatnot, and I'll share we're going to record this thing in the next week, the commentary, so I don't want to spill too much stuff, but I think I acclimated myself better to the film this time around than I was in the theater, so some positive things to say about, but then we'll see how our discussion goes. But I think there's something to be said about talking about this franchise again after many long years. I think we recorded the first 5 in 2018 to 2019, so it's been a very long time since we touched on this stuff, because there has been another film. But definitely a lot of things to discuss on the whole thing. It looked very nice, sounded very nice. I only watched a couple of featurettes on this thing, but obviously I watched the one about Tony Todd, and it was just really sweet type of thing they put together. Everyone talking so well about the man, and this is all talking about him during the production. Obviously, he passed away a bit after the fact of them shooting everything. So still, they really had a good feel about working with Tony, knowing that his health was declining at the point in time, but he still put in the great spirits on set, and just such a gracious person. So definitely recommend just watching that featurette of anything else in that regard, because Tony was a treasure overall. And the other one we're going to be doing is the 4th Conjuring movie, Last Rites, which I haven't watched again yet. But I got Final Destination Bloodlines off of Groove.com, because they had 4Ks for $12.99, and they had an active 20% off code, so I got this fucking dirt-ass cheap. I got this one also off of Groove, and it was still pretty much at the original retail release week price, about $28 or whatnot. But I was still able to use a coupon to knock it down to about $23 overall. So I just watched the featurettes on this whole thing. I haven't watched the film yet. I'll probably watch it tonight or something else like that. But yeah, they're good. They're nice, decent featurettes and whatnot about the making of the films, talking about some of the personalities of all the films, kind of like closing of the chapter with Farmiga and Wilson and anything like that. So they're fairly decent behind-the-scenes stuff. I think there's a comedy track on the Bloodlines. There's a comedy track on the Final Destination Bloodlines 4K, but not one for Conjuring Last Rites. But there's some decent featurettes in the whole thing. They're worth watching. And I get into seeing about some of the behind-the-scenes on the entire film and how they achieved certain things, certainly mindsets and mentalities going forward with what they're doing with production overall, and how they reference certain horror films to kind of develop how they want to approach this film in terms of cinematography and art direction, various other things, the aesthetics of the entire film. So, decent featurettes. I think they do a nice job of the whole thing. Not going to be crazy or whatnot in terms of real great depth, but nice things to watch in a quick succession. But the one thing that I've been kind of gnawing at me for it's been almost a year. I've been kind of gnawing at the idea of doing this because I rewatched the film about February of last year, I believe. And I had a little bit of a better opinion than I had way back in the day because when I had my old WordPress blog, I was doing written reviews on the whole thing. I did cover this film for William Friedkin, and I had more of a stinging response to the film back then. When I rewatched it last year, I've it warmed up a little bit more, kind of softened overall. But it was the main thing that I had gotten so hooked on the main theme from the soundtrack for this film that has been stirring around my head for an entire year, and that is To Live and Die in L.A. And I've been digging the crap out of the soundtrack for a good 10 months or so. And it's just been boring in my head about doing a video on this thing and kind of getting up the whole thing. And eventually, I don't remember how much I paid for the Kino Lorber 4K, but it was a pretty decent price. I think there was an extra coupon on top of it or something like that. It got knocked down to a really crazy cheap price, but it got back ordered. So I didn't get it till last week, about a week ago. So I ordered it early December, and it got here about 4 weeks after the fact. But see if I can dig up the price real quick about how crazy. It was about $13 for the 4K, so it was that was crazy. I kept eyeing it because it was hovering around $18 on Amazon, but once that thing dropped to $12.85, I gotta grab it now. It's fine if it's back ordered because I'm not going to get to it until the new year whatsoever. But it's an interesting film. I know a lot of people. There's a lot of hard up fan base for the film. I'm going to revisit it. See what I feel about it, but I did grab the audiobook because it is based on a novel, which is something I hardly even realized before because obviously I didn't watch it that many times. But since I know there's a lot of stuff that freaking changed on the fly towards the ending of the film, I'm interested to check out the novel here, which is the audiobook's about 7 to 8 hours. We'll see how fast I get through it because the Star Wars one was a bit longer than that and it took me quite a while because I was just kind of in and out of it so often that I just kind of couldn't keep it the same thing. But I'll be seeing how far I get into it. Maybe I kind of don't get through all of it before I get around to jumping on this because probably next weekend, hopefully, I'll be able to jump on getting going with the whole thing with the research and all that type of stuff with the old bonus features. There's really nothing new on this thing. MGM did a pretty solid special edition DVD back in the day, so not a whole lot more they really need to kind of interview people about the entire film. They did a pretty comprehensive job back in the day on the DVD, so all that stuff just been recycled from one release to the next. So interesting stuff, and of course I will talk quite a bit about the soundtrack as well from Wing Chung. So that's very interesting stuff to discuss in that regard. But so we've got a number of, still more stuff. I kind of doubled up on my water bottles this time because I knew there'd be a lot to talk about. But I got a two-pronged type of thing here. I got a Amazon gift card for Christmas from someone at work. And I was pinpointing something, but I eventually kind of dipped over to deep discount and found they were selling some of the stuff for a much cheaper price, plus there was a coupon on top of it. So I kind of split things between getting one thing from Amazon and the rest of the stuff from deep discount, along with grabbing something else to kind of get the free shipping on top of that. So not only did I finally grab Scream 3 on 4K. Again, not the best Scream film whatsoever. But I was jonesing just to kind of I want to get all of them on 4K because Apparently, Screen 4 from Lionsgate is supposed to get a 4K upgrade sometime this year. That's the word that's going around. So that thing is grateful. And also, this came with a slipcover. So all my ones that I have as keep cases do have a slipcover. My 4K of the original film is a steelbook because at the time there's some problem. This is like late 2021 when there's like still a lot of supply chain issues and stuff like that. So they couldn't get the keep cases out on release date. You go and get the steelbook. So I grabbed the steelbook, but that was steelbook. Everything else has a slipcover with a keep case, so it nicely matches in my collection until 4K Screen 4 comes up on 4K. So grab this thing up. Haven't put it in, but I got it for really cheap, like $12 or whatnot. So very good price. But the thing I split up between Amazon and deep discount was the fact that, on top of something else I have here, I'm trying to just get all the Star Trek I need on physical media so I never have to pay for a streaming service to watch it ever again. Because that's why I got Star Trek The Next Generation on Blu-ray, because I'd been watching the series on like Hulu and Netflix and everything like that for years and years and years, just paying for subscriptions to watch the shows. Like, as much as I spent on a subscription to watch this stuff over and over again for years now, why not just buy the fucking Blu-rays and save myself extended costs over time? So I bought that. I've got Deep Space Nine on DVD. I've got Voyager on DVD. I've got some other stuff here. And I grabbed up all the Blu-rays for Star Trek Prodigy, which is just a really fabulous animated show they put together that, even though it's designed for a child audience, but still it speaks so well towards long-term Star Trek fans. It's such a easy gateway into Star Trek, but it honors and loves Star Trek so much at its core that it's such a great experience overall. Just so fun, bright, optimistic, great type of stuff, wonderful characters. Brought back Janeway for the entire thing, and that's just great. So they released season 1 in 2 parts, both streaming and on Blu-ray. Apparently, I think it's maybe UK or Germany or something like that. They had complete season 1 set instead of having the split up version of the whole thing. But there's that, and season 2 got its full single release because they dropped all that on Netflix. But the fact of the matter is, this ain't available on streaming service. I think you buy it VOD, but it's all dropped from Netflix now. It's not on Paramount Plus. It's kind of probably eventually gets shopped around somewhere else or whatever the hell. But right now, that's the way you want to get it. That's the way you want to get it because there's also some nice. I was surprised. I started going through the special features just on the first set, and there's like a lot of stuff. Even though it's like not super long stuff, but there's just like a lot of different featurettes about the design of the show, the ethos going into the show, all the different things. And I like the fact that it's a bit more of a fantastical Star Trek show because it's animated, because that way you can do whatever the fuck you want. If you can design it, it goes up on the screen. You don't need to spend more money for big set designs and all the different things and more special effects. It's all special effects. It's all just in the computer, so you can do whatever you want. So it's a lot more vibrant, a lot more just interesting ideas overall that can be more imagination stretching in that regard. So it's like, I just thought it had a really great, excellent energy to the whole thing, and great Star Trek themes and messages overall. So it's so very well done. It's unfortunate that it never really kind of found that great traction. So there's no season 3. They never really announced a official cancellation. Just like, that's it. We just kind of came to realize it's just not going to happen, and they just never said anything about the whole thing, which is unfortunate, but who knows, whatever. The fact is, I still think these 2 seasons are really fantastic pieces of work with nice overarching storylines and all that type of stuff, but just like the fantastic characters, I absolutely love what they did with it. It's a really wonderful type of thing. So it's also, like I said, a bit of a sequel to Voyager, because you got Janeway in there. Chakotay becomes part of season 2 and various other things. So there's a little harkening back to stuff to kind of further inform the characters you have involved in the entire thing, that are bringing it back, but it complements the overall story with the new young characters they have. So I think Prodigy is a really fantastic piece of work that's really worthwhile to watch if you're a longtime Star Trek fan, or if you're looking to have someone get into Star Trek that's very young. This would be a perfect entry point. I definitely recommend it. So any which way you can grab it, go check it out. But the other thing I have in terms of Trek is the fact that I got on Black Friday, I was hemming and hawing, not knowing what to get, because it not a whole lot really went that much on sale. My wish list over on here, there, everywhere, Amazon. And so I just decided, well, the price of this thing never really goes down that freaking much. Like, it goes down maybe $50 or $55 at a shot. And I felt like I'll just grab Enterprise Complete Series Blu-ray set. Because I've been trying to get through, like, parts of the entire series. I watched, like, Season 3 arc with the Xindi War. Then I kind of got into Season 4 for the most part. But, like, I tried getting these things in during the little kind of months or two subscriptions I signed up for. And, like, well, I'm not going to keep going on and on about it if I don't get around to it. So I decided, like, well, again, the whole thing, why keep paying for the streaming service if you can slap down a couple dozen bucks and just grab the whole thing and just have it forever? So I just thought that was just the better idea. And plus, you get all the wonderful featurettes on the whole thing, which this was produced about 2013 or so. So it's a little bit of a retrospective look back on the series from the cast and crew and everything like that. And it's an interesting type of thing because the first 3 seasons were actually shot on Super 35mm film and a little inconsistent in the image quality. Like, I rewatched the pilot Broken Bow. I love the pilot. I think it's one of the best pilots Trek has done. But the image quality was a little kind of noisy overall with the grain and stuff like that. It wasn't really terribly well resolved, but I feel like this is all stuff they shot on film, then they scanned it in and edited everything on like an Avid workstation or Final Cut Pro, whatever the heck they used back in the day. They probably just had digital intermediates. They're not putting this stuff back onto film when you're just broadcasting on TV and throwing it on DVD at the time. So there's not like something they're going to go back and rescan the negatives and kind of get it a little clean, just get it a little bit cleaner. They're not going to go through the whole thing. So Season 4 was done on high-def digital video, and it looks a lot better. Just a lot cleaner, a lot more bolder colors, stronger contrast overall. Just like it looks like a much more solid image, and it doesn't degrade overall. They really kind of continue a consistent look for the series while switching over to digital video, which is a little bit cheaper overall because they're kind of getting to Season 4 and they're kind of changing directions on the creative and kind of maybe wanting to reduce costs at a certain point. So the director of photography on the series was Jonathan West. Kind of was testing out, doing some test shots on the soundstage and everything like that on the sets to kind of see how this new Sony model would work out. And everyone just signed off on it, like, yeah, absolutely, this is going to look really, really good. And so I think that really kind of translates to the Blu-rays looking very good for Season 4. 1, 2, and 3 a little inconsistent in terms of how good the quality is because of the fact that is that you can't, now going back and remastering it, kind of reducing or kind of stabilizing some of those grainy points or whatnot, but still a watchable show, perfectly fine in that regard. But I feel like I just mentioned the fact that you might find a little bit of a up and down, and kind of like early in Season 1 it might look a little more chunky, a little closer to the end of the season it gets a little bit more stabilized overall, kind of a more pleasing image overall in that regard. But here and there and everywhere, but it's the best it's ever going to look. It's the best it's ever going to look in that regard. So I think that's good. Aside from the packaging, which is this monstrosity of fucking flaps and stack of discs, I don't love this. It's the same thing with my Voyager DVD set. It's got 2 of these big hulking things that are even way more discs because they're all DVDs. And so we wanted to replace that for years and never got around to it. But anything, this DVD size case fits right next to the freaking Voyager Complete Series because it looks almost the same type of thing. So it's a nice thing to slot in over here overall in that regard. So lots of good Trek. Lots of good Trek in that regard. But one thing I got for Christmas, I figured this was probably going to be the thing I was going to get because I kind of put it as one of the highest tier things on my Amazon wish list. And that was the big Arrow Video 4K trilogy set of the Ninja Turtles. And I did throw in some of the stuff last night to kind of poke around the set. I watched a couple of the interviews. They had the one with Brian Henson and one of the guys from the Creature Shop, Jim Henson Creature Shop. Really good. Brian Henson is almost a spitting image of his father. I was like, whoa. Good genes on that family. But talking so much about that process of kind of innovative type of stuff. Like they're really kind of doing a lot of stuff for the first time on that first Ninja Turtles film with the animatronics, the puppeteering, all that type of stuff. And also really good interview for Judith Hoag, who portrayed April O'Neil. love her in the entire film. She's so much energy from her. She's so fantastic with the comedy moments. But man, I love the sass. I love the sexiness of her character so much. When she's working off of Casey Jones, Elias Koteas, she talks so well about him, and there's so much of the greatness of the experience working on the film. And also, she was working on the film Cadillac Man with Robin Williams at the same time, so she's kind of flying back and forth between productions from the week to the weekend, going back and forth and shooting things. So, nice little story with her and Robin Williams interview. And there's some other things on I think it's the Secret Ooze one where they talk with John Dupre, who did the scores for all three films. A really nice interview from him about his insights about how he went about things and how the experiences were between one film to the next, all that type of stuff. So, interesting stuff overall. I just kind of did a little bit of a sampler overall in the whole thing, but let me give you a little unboxing of the whole thing. Not that you need that much of the whole thing, but a little ooze canister there, logos, all that type of stuff. But I did a little spot check on the first. That's not the first film. On the first film, there we go. A little shredder action there. A little spot check on the whole thing, and it looked really nice. The fact is, the first Ninja Turtles film was always a bit of a heavy grain film. Really kind of that gritty feel overall, which is very much complementary to the tone Steve Barron set for the entire film. So I think it did a really good job. And I kind of looked at some place here, because there's some little place where there's little gaps or whatnot where you can kind of see a little bit of the performer behind the mouth of the troll mask and stuff like that. It's not been touched on it. No digital touch-ups. They did a really fine job to remaster these things in 4K. Really fantastic type of work. And like I said, there's a lot of freaking interviews. There's tons of interviews just on the first film itself, and just like a whole bunch of stuff. And of course, the alternate versions with the alternate audio tracks for different territories where they kind of had to change, like over in Korea, they had to change things from I'd changed some things around from like Japanese and Ninja, stuff like that, kind of omit some things. So they altered the audio track with some other dubbing and changed the title of the film to Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, various other things like that. And there's some other things with the UK version. They made a spliced up, seamless branching version of the UK version, which removes all the nunchucks, because it had a certain ban on it at the time in the UK. So they used some alternate footage in that regard. So you can also watch that, as well as the original version of the entire film, and so on and so forth. So, a lot of good things on that regard, and there's depreciating levels of stuff on the number 2 and the number 3. You can kind of see the text blocks get a little smaller for the readouts of the bonus material and the whole thing, but still really well done type of stuff overall. Like I said, I just delved into a couple things here and there, so if you really want a full kind of breakdown of it, I definitely recommend my friend Oliver Harper's review of the set overall. He goes into all the detail in the whole thing. He does a lot of comparisons back and forth from different releases and transfers, stuff like that. But nice little thing here where they give you the original theatrical movie poster, once I can get this thing open. Really nice type of thing. The little poster thing from Ninja Turtles 3 is a little low res, a little fuzzy overall. It's not terribly pin sharp. But when you got this on the other side, I think this is the one you'd want to display if you want to display anything. And I think there's a couple other posters from the other 2 films in here that I really didn't kind of delve into terribly much when I opened it up before. But looks like they got, like Ninja Turtles 2, they got, excuse me, original poster, and then their new disc artwork, all that type of stuff. So, really good. I mean, it's a hell of a damn set. I mean, don't expect them to kind of break this up into single things, because I imagine Warner Brothers kind of licensed it to them, saying that you can only sell them as probably a set. Not saying that's absolutely certain that I know that, but that seems like a typical type of thing to come up in these sort of licensing negotiations. So, similar to how Shout Factory got the Halloween 6 H2O and Resurrection set, where it's like, okay, you're licensing this, you can only sell them as a box set, because obviously it seems like Paramount or whatnot, or whoever has the rights to the whole thing, has gone off and done like steelbook releases in 4K with none of the bonus features, but they just use the remastered version in their own separate releases. So kind of diversifying their streams in that regard. And I'm having a tough time getting this booklet back in here, which has the... That's why it's slipping in with the poster. Sticking. Whole thing where they kind of reproduce the Roy's Pizza sort of menu in a certain way, if I can get the glare off of here for 2 seconds. But inside of it's got all your photos and your essays and all the other stuff and the whole thing. Really cool. Overall type of stuff. Just kind of flipping through and trying to give you a sense of what they got going on, the whole thing. So really good stuff overall. Some behind the scenes photos overall, along with the essays and everything like that. So Arrow's been killing it. They've really been killing it with this Warner Brothers catalog overall, just like they've just been cranking out some great stuff that's getting great marks overall. So many interesting titles. Your Excaliburs, your Under Sieges, In the Mouth of Madness, all these different things, just cranking them out like crazy. It's really putting them on top of the mountain of all the entire boutique label industry in that regard. So they've done a really fantastic job with all that type of stuff. And I'm just can't wait to hear what's coming up next. They've announced the 1995 Mortal Kombat films coming to 4K from them too, so that's well overdue. Although that's been well overdue for a nice special edition version. But the last couple things are I'm going to breeze through these pretty fast in that regard. But I went to a disc replay sometime, I think somewhere November or whatnot, and obviously grabbed up the ref. I don't recommend the DVD. If you can grab it on digital, I would definitely say that because it's an HD format. DVD is just an old port of the Laserdisc, which is non-anamorphic. It has Dolby Digital 5.1, but the picture quality is not great. It would be much better just kind of buying it or renting it off of streaming service, VOD service in that regard, and grabbing it that way. Have a much better quality picture on the whole thing. But one thing we've kind of had on the maybe list about doing a comedy before was the Amityville Horror. I figured, well, I'll grab up special edition DVD for the whole thing. I didn't feel like I watched it once a long time ago. I didn't think it was all that great, but I feel like we can consider it. I can watch it at some point in time, see if I want to say anything about it. It's got a couple of interviews and some other things here and there that I kind of jump into. There's a documentary in this thing and a commentary track, stuff here and there. So it's a maybe type of thing. So I figure, well, for a couple bucks, it's worth grabbing to check it out. But a couple little CDs I grabbed up because I've been, as I mentioned in some previous updates in that regard, I've been kind of shelving a lot of these kind of like badly mastered versions of either albums or compilation sets, like greatest hits stuff, because they're not well mastered. They kind of crunch the dynamic range, kind of brick wall things to a certain degree. They don't sound quite so pleasing. So eventually I hunted down a couple of Def Leppard and Aerosmith albums at the disc replay. Obviously got Pyromania. And then I got Hysteria, which, my God, this is such a good album. I put it in right away as I got out of the entire place. And it's like, I can't believe, they stacked all the freaking singles one after another for, the first half of the album. So it's undoubtedly, you're hooked in this whole thing. It's a fantastic album. It sounds so much better than the fucking compilation I had. This 2 CD, The Story So Far from Def Leppard thing, it just really wasn't terribly nicely mastered overall, but once I started listening to this, it sounds so beautiful. So beautiful. Of course, Pyromania is also a great piece of work as well, so I got to get High and Dry as well. I got recommended that, and there's some tracks off that I need to grab as well, but one thing at a time is I've been spending this money, and now I've got other things that pay off in that regard. I'll kind of back off on certain things here and there, but also got Aerosmith Pump, and I got Get a Grip, because kind of the two big ones in that era. This one's got Other Side and Janie's Got a Gun, and this one's got all the tracks with the music videos from Alicia Silverstone in it. So that was kind of a seminal early 90s album overall. So listening to much more of the Def Leppard stuff than the Aerosmith stuff, but I really want to get this because I had the Essential Aerosmith thing, and I found out also the tracks weren't terribly well mastered, so I really wanted to replace a lot of the stuff with some better sounding original album versions, original CD pressing versions. So a lot of the remastered stuff that's on streaming services now, which are also kind of a little bit crunched in the dynamic range, which doesn't make them sound terribly as good overall, at least not to my ears. So those are the interesting little things, and I grabbed up overall in that regard. But that's all there is in terms of media pickups. Try to get through everything as fast as possible in that regard. But talking about some other things, because it's a nice timing on this whole thing, because if I did this sooner, I wouldn't be able to promote this as well. Not for myself, but a film I watched recently up on that hit streaming. And you guys know I'm a big Kristen Ritter fan. I love her stuff. I love her, the novel she's done. I love her as Jessica Jones. I loved her in the Netflix kind of kids horror movie Night Books a couple of years ago. Wonderful stuff. She does really fantastic stuff, and she's coming back as Jessica in the new Daredevil season this year. And it was November when this got put out. A new film called Stone Cold Fox. It's kind of a 80s throwback kind of comedy thriller film that she plays a very vampish, like drug lord, like a bad lady. And she's wonderful in the whole thing. And that's hitting Netflix on January 9th. So this week, the end of this week, it'll be up on Netflix to watch it. It's previously just on VOD before, but now they're putting it up on Netflix. And it's wonderful because I really want to rewatch it. I thought it's a really fun piece of work. I mean, Kieran Shipka as Fox, this kind of wayward kid, teen and whatnot, that kind of gets hooked up with Goldie, Kristen Ritter's drug lord character, and it's a really good type of thing. It's got a lot of heart to it, a lot of qualities about it that make it such a delightful film. It's nice little camp, a little bit cheesiness, but like it's nice throwback to something that you'd feel like it's like an old canon film or some other thing from like the mid '80s or whatnot that feels like it's really hitting on the pulse of the pop culture, the vibes, the thing of everything. Is a very fun type of film. It's got Kiefer Sutherland in it as this kind of crooked cop in this small town. It's hooked up with Goldie, and there's a lot of great things in the entire film. Like it's just so absolutely perfect. It's like a perfect throwback film in that regard. So like, films back in that day could be a little bit silly. They could be a little cheesy in places and whatnot. They could be a little kind of self-indulgent to themselves, but still maintain a very high-end quality of just being great entertainment. And that is what this film is. Stone Cold Fox is a really great piece of entertainment that breezes by in about 90 minutes. There's a really nice soundtrack to it. In terms of like the score and whatnot, I don't think they did a lot of licensed music on the whole thing because it was a fairly kind of low-budget independent type of thing, but it's got the vibes. It really hits the type of thing I really like to see in these types of films. They kind of like throw back to an earlier era, really kind of capture those kinds of aesthetics, those styles and stuff like that. That's very much wrapped up in that kind of mid-'80s kind of MTV propulsiveness and stuff like that in that regard. So it's really funny, smart, well put together characters, really stellar cast overall. So I really wanted to highlight that here. I kind of thought about doing like a little bit of a short review of the whole thing, but it was like I didn't quite have enough to work with. There's like available footage and stuff like that. Really put together a whole video, but I felt like this was a nice place to kind of highlight it and tell you guys on the 9th of January, that this coming weekend, go check it out on Netflix. I think it's well worth your time because if you've ever got Netflix, what do you got to lose? Throw it on, check it out, see if you like it, and let me know what you thought about it if you do check it out. So that's good type of stuff. I don't know if they're ever going to put on a physical release of the whole thing, but here's the hoping. I don't know how much of a hit it will be and whatnot, but I think it's well worth checking out and cool stuff. So I don't really have anything to really say about moving forward in 2026. I don't know if that much about the slate coming forward, about what to even be excited about all that much. Who knows? But I've been busy enough. I had time to relax and kind of kick back and kind of try to enjoy some of the comic books I want to read. The Nightwing stuff I've had for over a year now that I haven't read yet. The Jessica Jones Alias Volume 1 that I've had since like Labor Day that I haven't picked up and opened up yet. So trying to relax for the week for the most part. Kind of catch up on things that makes me feel happy and enjoyable and all the type of stuff. I really kind of just pull it back, get away from the computer for a while, and just enjoy things that I want to enjoy. So Let me know how you guys feel right now. How you feel about all this myriad of things I picked up. And all this type of stuff. So, hope you guys have a very good year. And if things are not going terribly well now, hope they will turn around for you soon. But find some time to relax, decompress if you haven't already over the holidays or anything like that. But hopefully you can start the new year, a little bit of freshness, move forward in things that make you happy, and just join us here on the channel for more great stuff. So guys, like the video with a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. Also, the thing of sharing links around, commenting about everything in that regard. Also, Super Things feature to contribute anything monetarily to the channel and support us around here. But there's also the Patreon to do that as well. So guys, thank you so very much. Take care. Bye-bye.